Looking to make a difference with your shopping? Visit communitypayitforward.us. Select the mission or cause you want to support and scan the QR code. You have two options. Click the first link and browse our giving partners, or use the second link to tell us what you need, and we'll find the right partners for you. Shop with these partners and keep your receipt or invoice. Next, click a picture or simply upload a picture of your receipt to the portal in every form, adding your name and email address. Your purchase now turns into a donation to the mission you've chosen. Community Pay It Forward shares your business story with those in need of your services to rally support for those who need us all.
Born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here? Took a hold of her.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, we got a new configuration here in the studio because, well, Mother Nature is a nice person. She decided to go on ahead and flood my entire home, so we had to take out all the carpet. And I'm going to tell you something. My brother is a wonderful, a fantastic rooter. Okay, he can, clean out your pipes and replace your pipes and do all that stuff. He is fantastic, but he missed his calling because that boy should be putting in carpet. Because I'm going to tell you something. I could not rip this carpet out. I mean, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. So, Isaac, I love you, little brother, but next time that you're going to put in carpet, remember us old guys, okay? We can't work that hard anymore. My God. It's like, I don't know what he used, to keep the carpet down, but if you need carpet placed, I got a guy for you, just let me know. My name is Zach Clayton. I'm the president and founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channel. Welcome to Community IMpACT. And I have a feeling, can you hear me now, Melissa? She's freezing up a little bit, it looks like, but hopefully that'll fix up here in a minute. We are having issues again with the internet, so hopefully that'll all go away. We'll see what happens. Right before we went live, folks, and this is to all of my friends in Northern Colorado, I got a message from the vice president and kitchen manager for the Greeley Kitchen. They serve homeless 2 times a week, yet they were hit with the same storm we were last week. They are looking for people to help them at the Crossroads Church dining room, and they need people to help them rip out carpet, move tables, and clean up. And look, it's not an easy job. So Northern Colorado, if there's anybody out there who would like to volunteer to help Greeley Kitchen, please reach out to me and I will get you in touch with them. I will make sure that the connection happens. Look, if we don't get them back up and running, they can't do the good that they're doing. So we really want to make sure that we reach out to them. So if you can volunteer, if you can help them out, please let me know. I will be creating a video and releasing that video on all of the Community Pay It Forward and IMpACT channel outlets. So you can have the information. But if you are interested in volunteering and doing some really good things, please give us a call and we will connect you. Again, we are having a little bit of problem here. Melissa is having some problem with her internet, but we are going to go on ahead and we're going to get started. Our guest tonight has joined the Community Pay It Forward family. Yay! And what that means is that anytime that you shop with any of our wonderful partners, shop, click, and pick happens. You shop with a partner, you click on their QR code, which you can see right here. Okay. Click on that and you click a picture of the receipt, or there's a place to upload your receipt right there on the link that you're going to get. You just get us that receipt, put your name and your email address, and that's it. Send it to us. A portion of your purchase goes to help Jen and her family in Dignify Dementia. Now, saying that, I'd like to bring Jen in and she can explain to us exactly what is Dignify Dementia. Hello, Jen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing well. Yeah, it looks like we're going to try. Melissa's going to try to log in again. We will get her on as soon as she possibly can. Jen, Dignify Dementia started, as most nonprofits, as most businesses do, from a place of unexpected need. Can you tell us your story?
Yes, I'm honored to. Thank you for having me. So in 2018, late that year, my dad was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia with Parkinsonism. And apparently that is the third common cause of dementia, but I am trained in health research and healthcare, and I had never heard of it. And neither had my parents. And the neurologist said, well, could be Lewy body dementia. And we'll go from there. And we didn't get a pamphlet. We didn't get anything. And my dad was asking questions, and like the third question out of his mouth was, well, how do we help other people like me? And how do we make that happen? And I said, well, Dad, let's figure out how this works within our family and how to help you first. And then I promise you, I will find a way to help other people like you and other families like ours. And so what I did while he was progressing in the Lewy body, I was one of his primary caregivers with my mom. I moved into their home to help care for him. And I went about developing a set of resources for my dad that he used, honestly, up until about 2 weeks. He used them daily, about 2 weeks before he passed. And so what they are is a collection of forms, for lack of a better term. Nothing sexy, but there's a calendar. There's an eating today guide. There's a wellness journal. There's a medical information tracking form, and then a medicine tracking form. And if you put all of these together, it creates our little Dignify Dementia toolkit. But they are can be distributed individually. The 3 pieces that you use daily are the calendar, the eating today guide, and the wellness journal. And my dad was always a creature of structure, and he liked keeping things organized. And as his disease progressed, he would have trouble with the date. I mean, sometimes I have trouble with the date.
Yeah.
I'll do. But so what I would do is I printed the calendar out, and then I would put it in a dry erase sleeve. And he would circle the day of the week and the date, and then he would write the whole date out. And writing, what I found through my research and what his doctors told us, is a fine motor skill. And it's one of the things we lose as the brain atrophies, especially with dementia. And so these things we did with him every single morning. And for the most part, for the first 5 years of his diagnosis, he could fill them out by himself. But then it got to where it was a little bit of a struggle, and he needed help from either me or my mom. But he kept writing up until the very end, which is something that they lose pretty quickly. And throughout this journey, I had shown these resources to his doctors, and especially the medical information tracking form. That one people like a lot because it takes some work, usually by a caregiver on the front end, to fill out. But we never had to fill out new patient paperwork again. We could just take it right to the doctor with us, and they'd scan it right there. And it became a part of his chart. And so it was really that helpful for him. And then the doctors started encouraging me, the doctors and the speech therapists and the occupational therapists, they started encouraging me to try and share these resources. And I thought, oh, no, I just developed them for my dad. And to some, they might seem a little bit childish too when you look at them, because the wellness journal is a series of colorful pictures and things like that. But as the brain atrophies with dementia, a lot of times they can't see black. They can't see things unless they're brightly colored. And my dad was losing his words as well. So having pictures and illustrations was a very necessary thing. And I kind of combined a little bit of my public health research training to and a little bit of early childhood training to develop these. And so as he went on, I started thinking, well, maybe this would be the way to help my dad help others and help other families like ours. And so I kind of just put myself to work in the later months of 2022 and got Dignify Dementia started and started selling these dementia toolkits to help pay for the nonprofit and to help support the programs that we have, which are, we have a monthly Facebook Live chat group, and it's called the Caregiver Empower Hour, because another thing was to help the families as well. And caregiving is a lot of work. And for me and my mom, it held so many special things and so many miracles. I mean, it reconnected us to each other, caring for my dad like that. And it was really important to me to be able to help caregivers. And so this chat features me usually and special guests with topics that are relevant to caregivers. And then we also have a once monthly mutual aid group. And then we're going to be working on a fundraiser this summer to help fund a developing program where we are able to offer small stints of respite care to families who can't otherwise afford it and desperately need it. So,
a couple of the things that you do are some things that we're very, very familiar with. The writing, we know from past guests, and with the issues that I've got with my brain injury, my and what I go through, writing is so important because it helps. Not only it helps ease the memory, but it also helps strengthen the brain. And it's an exercise that your brain desperately needs. And it's something that, it's a small thing that people don't think about a lot of times. But when you're sitting there, when you're sitting there and you're trying to figure stuff out, and it gives you a chance to go back and look back through and remember how you were able to do things before. So I absolutely love that with with the calendar.
mm-hmm.
I know when things are bad, it is so hard to try to keep things straight, and having that calendar is a lifesaver.
Yeah. And
it takes away a lot of that stress.
Yeah. And what he used to say is he loved doing, because I would give him the option every couple of months, Dad, it's getting harder and harder for you to do these, and you seem to get frustrated more with them. Do you want to keep doing these? And he would say the same thing every time. Nope, I'm going to do them until I can't do them anymore. And they keep the crazy out. And he wasn't crazy. He had dementia, but that's what he referred to himself as. And he just anything that he could do on his own was a big deal. And he knew he had these documents each day in his own handwriting, so that he didn't have to ask me and my mom the same question over and over again. He knew where to go and how to find the information he was looking for. And so it really supported, it didn't slow the progression by any means, because you can't do that, but it helped when the progression was progressing to keep him organized in thought, and keep him to where he knew he was doing certain things every day. Because for people living with dementia, it doesn't compute the same way. It's so, you know, he would forget, did I take a shower today? Did I brush my teeth? And those things were all very important to him. And so there was a picture on the wellness journal for him to check that off. And he could do that every day. And it really was something that brought us all a little bit closer together too, doing that together.
You, like I mentioned in the beginning, this was brought upon by let's just tell the truth, a lack of attentiveness from the doctors. They didn't tell you a lot. It's like, well, this might be the problem. Here you go. And I don't want to rag on doctors. I know that they got a tough job. I know they do. But there's a lot of times that it's just, you have to sit there and go, wait, explain this a little bit. Because, you know, I think it's kind of like with our programs every once in a while. Jen, you and I, we sit there and we know our programs. We know what we're doing. And we forget sometimes to explain it to people. And so it gets lost in translation a lot of times. I think that happens with doctors quite often. Yeah. I'm going to give them that excuse, because, you know, you were put into a situation where there was no explanation. It's like, well, this is what it could be. Shiny squirrel, I'm gone.
We were told to make a follow-up appointment. And I'm a fierce advocate for my parents, my family's health. And we were not going to be making a follow-up appointment with that doctor. I have some colleagues at the University of Colorado, and they were kind enough to agree to see my dad, even when his insurance didn't cover them. They saw him out of the goodness of their heart. And we were so fortunate to be able to get teamed up with the university, because at that point was when we started getting more information, and I was able to share my ideas with his doctors and his social worker, and the people there really cared about us, as not only him as the patient, but our whole family was the patient.
You know, that is also one of the other points that I wanted to bring up. You do focus a lot on the caregiver, because it is not just one person that goes through anything. It's not just one person that has an affliction. It's the entire family that's got to learn how to live differently. And so it's not just one person that needs the special help. It's everybody needs to learn. Look, you've got to learn a completely different life. It's kind of, it's what we do every day. You have to learn how to live a different life when you get a new job, or you start school again, or whatever you do. But this is something where it's such a shock to your system that having those caregivers who are able to support you as you're learning this new life is so vitally important. Having somebody like yourself, because you were put into a situation where you had to try to figure it out on your own. And
Mhm.
that's one of the great reasons why you started this. How long ago was it that you lost your father?
My father died in February, just of this
Um,
year.
I'm so very sorry to hear that, and my condolences are with you. Um, I love, I love his attitude, though. That, well, what are we going to do to help people?
Yep.
And I understand that, because while I was in the hospital bed, I was trying to figure out how I can help out biker families. After my accident, it's just something that we do. Um, I do love your response though too. You know, your response was, "Hold on, let's take care of you first."
Yeah.
Um, as a person who's been afflicted with something, having somebody like you there is so important, because we kind of forget that we need to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
That's just a human trait. It's
Yeah.
just something that we all go through. We kind of forget, oh wait, I guess I better take care of myself, because if I don't, you know, um, how hard was it to convince him to slow down?
Um, it in the beginning it was pretty hard, and in the beginning, quite honestly, my mom had a very different reaction to caregiving than I did. I mean, and he's, of course, my dad, and he's her husband. But part of our story, our true story, is that she was convinced that as the disease was progressing, that he was doing some of the things that he was doing on purpose, and he wasn't. He couldn't, because he didn't have that executive functioning to be able to manipulate or do anything like that. He always had his sense of humor and his positive attitude, but she would push him to do things that he couldn't do. And I mean, when he first got his diagnosis, they had just moved into an active adult community here in Denver, and he was playing ping pong twice a week, um, and he was doing all sorts of things. And I actually was on another career path myself, um, but he started having falls, and I knew these falls were not a normal part of aging. And it took me about a year and a half to convince my family, including him, that we needed to see somebody and have somebody look at this. And why was he falling without any provocation? Why was he falling, for no reason? And he was getting hurt in these falls, and he was trying to cover it up with his sense of humor. And there were a couple of times he fell walking to the clubhouse that he didn't even tell us that he fell until we saw either a bruise on his head or something like that, because he didn't want us to worry. And I am the one who is forever the person with, knowledge is power. And so let's go see the doctor and let's learn what we can do. And there in the beginning, I think my parents probably would have been happier had we not gotten the information. But again, it allowed us to go down this path where we're now able to not only help ourselves and help my dad before he passed, but help other families and let them know that they're not alone, and that their journey is theirs individualistically. that's not even a word. But their journey is their own. But we caregivers are so essential, and the people living with the conditions are so essential to helping others learn about this. And as our population ages, and we have a large population of aging adults, and we're going to have more and more people needing resources like Dignify Dementia. They're going to need a place to go to find out what is Lewy body dementia. Or, you know, I've done talks with people where people have raised their hand and said, I lose my keys almost on a daily basis. And do I have dementia? Should I be worried? And so starting to understand and educate themselves about what is normal aging and what might not be normal aging. What might you need to go and seek professional help for? And with my dad, he had, I believe anyway, he had a lot of the personality symptoms even earlier on, where he developed this sense of overwhelming paranoia, and he was having a hard time just doing small tasks. And this was after he retired, so he wasn't really required to do anything specifically for a job. But he was starting to make mistakes on my parents' budget and things like that. And he was not able to let mistakes go. And the anxiety would really, really amp up, and getting super easily frustrated. And so Dignify Dementia aims to really let people know, you know, I mean, I can't tell you everybody's story, and I'm not a trained physician or anything like that. But I can tell you our journey, and I know that I've been able to make an impact so far, and I know that I've already been able to help several families like ours. And if that's what I'm doing, is one person at a time, one family at a time. That's who I want to help. I want to spend my time talking to you to let you know, this is what we saw. Are you seeing any of this?
Yeah.
And
and again, that's where it gets so important that you approach it like you just mentioned, that you approach it like, this is what we went through. Is this sounding familiar? I tell people all the time, Jenifer, that the one thing I cannot stand is when they come to you and they go, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
First off, I think it's a little belittling to you.
It's condescending.
Right. Very condescending. And it's just like, no, maybe you don't know exactly what it's like. Now, the truth is that there are probably people out there who have a good idea what you're going through, but there's nobody who's going through the exact same thing you are.
Yes.
But being able to have someone like you who's a resource, who's able to talk to them in an educational way and tell them, look, this is what we had to go through during our difficult time. I don't know if this is going to be what helps, or if it's going, or if it's going to help lead to a different solution. Starting those conversations is so important.
Yeah.
And it generally leads to something, because it gives somebody who has no clue, it gives them a way to start looking for that solution, and it gives them a direction to go. Um,
And it feels a little, it starts to feel a little less scary.
right. That's exactly it. Hey, everyone, I just want to let you know Melissa is mortified that she has not been able to get reconnected. Um, but she's going to continue to work on this. And I'm going to do my best to act a little bit like her. There's no way I can do her any justice whatsoever. She is a professional at this. I'm just a schlub who likes to talk. But this is the QR code that was created by Melissa. That if you scan this QR code, and you can see a smaller version up in the corner, and I tested it with my phone, and my phone was able to pick up the QR code up in the corner. But if you make a purchase using this QR code, every time you purchase wine, you donate to Jen, her family, and Dignify Dementia to continue their mission on helping people through this tough, tough situation. Jen, what was the hardest thing for your dad to get used to?
That's a really good question. The not being able to drive thing was very, very hard for him. It took mountains for us to move to be able to essentially have to take his keys away. We had the doctors talk to him. He was given a virtual driving test at the doctors. And, the social worker explained the legality of, what could happen if he had knowingly drove having this diagnosis and hurt somebody, that he and my mom could lose everything that they worked for over the course of their 55-year marriage. And it would get to the point where I would ask him to go places and he would grab his keys and I would say, I'm going to drive this time. And he would say, no, you're not. I taught you how to drive. I'm driving. And I would say, Dad, I am so sorry, but to be completely honest with you, I don't feel safe in the car with you. And it actually, that resonated with him. But what did it in the end was my brother told him that he could no longer drive his granddaughters any place because he just wasn't safe. And it broke our hearts to have to try to do that, because driving is freedom. Driving is, and when you have dementia, the world just keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And, he got to the point where he could have gone out of the house. He could have gone up to the clubhouse to hear readings or things like that. He couldn't really play ping pong anymore, but he could play cards. He loved cribbage, and he played cribbage probably up until about 2 weeks before he passed as well. But he would have bathroom accidents. And these are the things that are uncomfortable to talk about, but starting those conversations and talking about them with other people is what I try to do. I mean, and he would have these accidents, and he just got to the point where he didn't want to leave the house anymore. And the last 2 years of his life were all in the house. We had doctors that would come here to see him, and it was very sad to watch his world get so small, and it was very frustrating to him because he felt like he couldn't do his job anymore, his job as dad and the husband, the
Mhm.
provider. And so I think that was definitely one of the hardest things that we went through, that he,
Yeah, that honestly, the story that you just mentioned about your brother and your nieces and nephews, that is, I've heard a lot of stories, and I couldn't imagine having to be your brother until
oh yeah, it gutted my brother. He was not
that.
helping.
And what was the hardest thing for you and your siblings to have to deal with?
Um, for me, it was watching him lose the memories that he had. He had, at the end, he had no memory of dancing with me at my wedding. He had no memory of teaching me how to ride a bike. And that seemed to be the emotional tug with his losing his memories like that, and them being just taken away from him. It's such a cruel disease. And for my brother, I think it was a little bit more of watching him decline physically, because dad is Superman.
Yeah.
And dad coaches baseball and soccer and all of the sports that my brother played, and he's becoming this frail man who's aging and can't remember things. And so I think it was I mean, I know it was a different journey for both of us, but for me, it was more the emotional tug at the memory loss, and my brother, the more physical.
And I know this sounds like a weird question, but what are
Please
some of
ask.
the,
The weirder, the better.
yeah, what are some of the things that you are what are some of the things that you went through, Jen, that you are happy that you went through because now you can help others?
Well, I'm happy that I went through. I mean, my brother and I, we didn't have any. I mean, sometimes dementia and caregiving will tear a family apart. Just even one facet of it, like the driving thing, will tear a family apart. Families will fight and not listen to each other and not listen to other points of view, and it just gets heated and messy, and everybody is so raw because everybody is losing this person. They're losing themselves, and it's grief. It's a living loss every day. But I'm glad we went through all of that. I'm glad we went through my brother not understanding how much caregiving takes out of somebody. He didn't seem to understand why I stepped back from so many of our other family things, and why my mom stepped back, because we were just exhausted.
Yeah.
And he didn't see why it was so hard and so frustrating. And he had to come to it on his own, and see it in his way. And we had to let him. But I've been able to help other families strategize when there's a breakdown in communication between siblings or whomever the caregivers are. I've been able to help strategize ways to help through that because of what me and my brother went through. And people don't like to talk about, again, like the bathroom accidents. They don't like to talk about the ugly and the fighting, and it's all part of it. And dealing with the bathroom accidents was another thing that I'm very glad I dealt with. I mean, it's not glamorous by any means, but I'm able to help direct other daughters dealing with their fathers, or sons dealing with their mothers. And because, I mean, that is such, when you lose your ability to use the bathroom on your own, it's dehumanizing. And it just, like I said, makes your world even smaller. And he didn't want his daughter's help with anything like that. And we would get to a point where we could use humor to deflect, because he always had his humor with him. And sometimes that doesn't work for every single family, but it worked for ours. I'm so grateful that my mom and I went through what we went through together. I mean, my mom, honestly, she didn't believe that caregivers fatigue was a real thing.
Yeah.
And she actually broke down. And this was all right as the pandemic was hitting. She broke down. My dad was progressing with dementia. I had spinal surgery. And now we're supposed to deal with the pandemic too. And my mom and I learned how to listen to each other again. And we learned how to fight fair if we had disagreements. And we learned how to do what was best for my dad without second guessing the other. And that was a really helpful lesson. So those are some of the things that I'm glad we've gone through.
I think what you just said there is so important, because there's something that every single one of us who is getting a little bit older understands. We've all seen that family that completely implodes after a death, because people are saying things that other people aren't understanding, and it turns what is a solemn and difficult time into a complete and total hell for everyone, because people are not taking that time to, as you said, do what's best for the person who is sick, or do what's best for the person that just passed away. All the other stuff comes, and it gets in the way of healing.
Yes.
And so I absolutely appreciate the way that you just put that. You have an event coming up on July 17th. Can you please tell us about it?
I do. So this is the first annual fundraiser for Dignify Dementia. It's called Jim's Journey, and Jim is my dad. He is my Dignify Dementia is my labor of love because of my dad. And we are having this event at the Green Valley Ranch Beer Garden here in Denver. And it'll be an evening from about 4:30 to 8 p.m. with appetizers, a silent auction, cornhole games with prizes, as well as cribbage lessons and cribbage games. So it's really an event to honor my dad and for a good cause, to raise money for our program to get respite care for families who couldn't pay for it otherwise.
Okay, Jen, this is a question that I have to ask every time, because I think it's a very important question to ask. We all know that money is king.
Yes.
Money rules everything. What are some of the other things that Dignify Dementia needs? What are some other things that people can help you do?
Well, we're so new. I mean, the resource library is something I want to continue building so that, if somebody gets a diagnosis and has an experience like ours, if they can go to Dignify Dementia and they don't want for anything. And for me, that means making more money to develop a research staff, to help us be able to put together that library and build it and continue to grow it. And I want to continue with having our chats for caregivers, and possibly turning that into something weekly rather than just monthly, and giving people that opportunity and that space to come together and hear something from somebody else. Because a lot of times we found it easier as a family to hear things from other people. And I just want every aspect of Dignify Dementia to enhance isn't the right word, but to take a person and a family living with dementia on the journey where we can acknowledge and try to increase their dignity in every step, whether they're at the beginning or we're at, end of life planning and things like that. So of course, as you said, money is king, and I hate that.
I do too, but look, you're not taking and buying a yacht with it, so
right.
It's understandable,
right?
But we want to make sure that we try to get people to you. So again, that is on the 17th of July, and we will be. You can visit communitypayitforward.us and go to our calendar page, because coming up in the next day or two, we're going to have all the information on this, and you'll be seeing a flyer and a little video that's talking all about this. And we're gonna keep you updated on where to go and how to do it. How do people, Jen, get a hold of you?
Well, the best way to get a hold of me is to email me at j.deserich@dignifydementia, all one word, .org. Or you can call 720-663-7635. That comes right directly to me. I'm an army of one right now. Yep. So I'm so fortunate that I have a great board in place, and they're very helpful, but I do the day-to-day work, and emailing me will get you to me faster. There's a chat feature on the website as well, to ask questions. And those are the best ways to reach me.
And again, Dignify Dementia is a community pay it forward program as well, mission partner as well. So if you use the QR code that's right up there above Jen, if you scan that QR code and you utilize any of our partners, any of our giving partners, all you have to do is shop with them and attach the receipt. Give us your name and your email address and hit send. And this wonderful, wonderful woman, this wonderful, wonderful organization is going to get a portion of your sale. We do not take cash donations for Dignify Dementia. There is a place on their website that you can do that. We do not deal with cash donations. All we want from you is your receipt. That's it. we turn that receipt into a donation so they can continue to do the wonderful work that they're doing, and they can increase their reach and make sure that we get this out there. I would like to do my best impression of Melissa at this point in time, which I feel so bad for her that she's just not been able to make it back on. It keeps kicking her off. We don't know what's going on. But please, I implore that you get a hold of her at mellywinehouse_onehope at outlook.com. That's mellywinehouse_onehope at outlook.com. The other thing you can do is use this QR code right here, because if you use this QR code, it takes you directly to her page. And every purchase you make right now using this QR code, 10% goes to Dignify Dementia. Along with 10% going to Dignify Dementia, a percentage also goes to the One Hope Foundation, which has pillars that are education, clean water, feeding, and just sustainable living. One Hope Wine, and this is coming from a guy who I don't make a dime with One Hope Wine. Okay, folks, I'm just going to say it. I don't make a dime with them. But what they are doing is so in line with Community Pay It Forward. And I love this organization beyond expression. They do some wonderful, wonderful things just when you make a purchase of their wine. You make a purchase, you donate to 2 different causes. What a wonderful thing that they are doing. Right now, they have a 17% off site-wide sale. And it only lasts for a couple more days. So please make sure you scan that QR code, and you can find out more information when you talk to Melissa right there. She will be able to not butcher it as I am butchering it, but she'll be able to explain it to you. This is something that she is so very sorry that this is happening, because I know that this is one that she really wanted to take part in. Hopefully she will get everything situated for the midweek or mid-month show. This is Father's Day month. Wow, it is. Cool. I guess it's a kind of a good time to be talking about your father then, right, Jen?
Yes.
So, yeah, I know that I'm a dad that every once in a while I enjoy a nice bottle of wine. If you, all of you who have followed us before know that I have a couple of these bottles of wine being held by this gentleman right behind me. Well, it was right behind me. Now it's kind of on the side of me a little bit, but thanks to Mother Nature doing her thing. But right now, if you order by the 10th, you will guarantee your shipment to arrive for your father. This is a lot better than a tie. Okay. And, one of the wines that they are special, that Melissa wanted to make sure that you knew about, was their Pinot Noir. And it goes great with steak and potatoes. And what's one of the best things about Father's Day? The barbecues. Now, Jen, I got to ask you this question. I'm gonna bring us back on screen here, because I'm gonna ask you this question. How come is it that we take mothers out for dinner on Mother's Day, but dads get stuck barbecuing on this day?
That is a really good question.
Actually, I can't say that. I love barbecuing. If it means I get to eat steak, I'm going to eat steak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about trying to explain it to a cook in a restaurant. But
right.
But yeah, this is the Hospitality Pinot Noir. That it's not too sweet or too dry, and it pairs well with steak and potatoes. It's a dark red. It looks beautiful. There are times reds can either be extremely, and this is me saying it, okay, I am not a wine aficionado, but there are times wines can either just kick you in the throat or be so ungodly sweet that you cannot drink them. So I know that I have had this wine before and I did enjoy it. This is one I have also actually, oh no, this is one that we have open in our kitchen right now, the Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. I have it open, and maybe that's why I can't say the words, is because I've had it open. You can't go wrong with the flavor. This is a delicious red. It is one that we not only like to have a small glass of this every once in a while. It's nice, and it's one that when we have guests come over, it's a beautiful wine to share with people. So and I know that always having a couple bottles of One Hope wine open in our kitchen is always very well received. Make sure that you get your award-winning wines for your champion father. Raise a glass to the man who raised you right. Show your love with a curated selection of our most exceptional wines. Again, please understand, I am not the one you should talk to. Email Melissa, Melly Winehouse _1hope at outlook.com. Wow, maybe I am drinking. I don't know. Trying to talk about wine, maybe that just messed up my head, but scan the QR code that you see there. And when you scan that QR code, it takes you directly to Melissa. And she's the one who's going to be able to tell you all about these wonderful wines. They have everything from small bottles of wine that you can share with other dads in your life, maybe people in your neighborhood. I know that Melissa and Stephanie both talk a lot about how they would share these little gift bottles of wine with people in their neighborhood. They would give them out for gifts. So it's a great one for maybe the dads that you work with or something along those lines. They've also got the wonderful shimmer bottles and the bottles that you can customize. So there is so much to One Hope Wines, and I am definitely not the professional. That is Melissa. You can get a hold of her at Melly Winehouse _1hope at outlook.com. Melly Winehouse _1hope at outlook.com. Again, if you have any more questions, please get a hold of Jen at j.deserich at dignifydementia.com. .org, sorry. .org. j.deserich at dignifydementia.org. Or you can give her a call or a text, 720-663-7635, 720-663-7635. Visit the website, dignifydementia.org. Join the Facebook groups. Do all the things that they're doing. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. It may seem silly that, hey, I lose my keys all the time. Is this something I need to worry about? It might not be. But she might be able to tell you, I wouldn't worry yet, but if you see signs going this way, you were talking about the instability. That's really something you've got to watch out for. Okay. I know shuffling of feet is one that we have to watch out for in our household.
Oh.
Like you, we are caretakers for my parents. So both of my parents are of ill health, and I've told you my dad has early onset. So this is a very, very important conversation to me as well. But Jen, I would like to ask you to do me a favor. And is there anything else that we have not talked about that you would want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've touched on it, But for yourself as a caregiver or yourself going through the disease, give yourself plenty of grace and room to allow whatever is happening to happen. It's not easy to do, but you're not perfect. The person you love is not perfect. And approaching the situation with compassion and empathy is going to get you a lot further than letting the anger build up. And if you are angry, you have a right to be. You can do a lot of things to help yourself with that anger, but give yourself patience and kindness, the kind that you would want shown to you if you were going through that. And that's our message.
Just, I would like to, if you don't mind, I'd like to add this. Just remember, you're only alone if you don't reach out for help. There are people who have been through, I know that there are a lot of organizations that we've been talking to lately who really want to be there to support caregivers, because caregiving is one of the most thankless jobs, because it's not just the people that you're taking care of. You're also taking care of the people that you've always taken care of, your kids, your family, yourself. And you forget that you need to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Jenifer, you know, there's been times that people have had to tell you, stop, take care of yourself first. I get told all the time, if you don't stop, you're not going to be here, and you can't help anyone if you're gone.
Right.
My dear friend that every single one of you guys know who watch us, Janet with Healing Warriors, formerly of Healing Warriors, and I'm so sad to say that. She tells me all the time, Zach, if you don't stop, you're not going to be around to help people. And I have to listen to her because, well, first off, I love her and she's a great friend, and I need to listen to her. But you know, she's always trying to pound that in. So please remember, if you're a caregiver, you've got to care for yourself as well as caring for others.
Yep.
So, Dignify Dementia's Jim's Journey fundraiser, July 17th. Where's that being held?
It's at the Green Valley Ranch Beer Garden in Denver, Colorado.
All right. And do you have the times set already, or?
Yep. It'll be from 4:30 in the afternoon till 8 p.m. in the evening.
Well, I am looking forward to being able to help out and being able to share the words and share more information about that. Again, we will be sharing that with everyone. Jen, I will contact you here as soon as I'm done. We're going to be talking next to Mr. Jerrod Smith, who's going to tell small business owners, hey, you know what? Loans are out there. You can get them. This is going to be an interview that I recorded a couple days ago. Another really, really good friend of ours, a veteran, 13-year-old, oh good God, 13-year vet who was unfortunately medically cleared from service, are medically disqualified from service, and he's going to tell us how we as small business owners can obtain loans. Jen, thank you very much. It was great to actually put a face to the voice.
Thank you.
Your voice is very beautiful, but it's great to see you.
Thank you. You as well.
So, I really look forward to talking with you. I really look forward to working with you. And please, folks, remember, Father's Day is coming up, but there's also other things coming up, like, you know, family gatherings, picnics, barbecues, a couple bottles of wine, make all those things a heck of a lot better. So scan the QR code above Jen right now. Make those purchases of wines that are fantastically priced. Join the wine club and the prices get even better. If you're looking for a secondary career and you like to help people, get a hold of Melissa, and she can tell you how to become a cause entrepreneur. Just a message to Melissa. I am so sorry that we're having these internet issues. Last week, and Jen, you'll appreciate this. Last week, I was the one who couldn't get on my own show. My two guests, they're the ones who had to run my show last week because I couldn't get onto my show.
Oh, dear.
So, but yeah, they ran my show for me, which was amazing. But yeah, so, you know, apparently this show doesn't want all like that right there. So, but thank you very much, Jen, and I will contact you after a while.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
You too. Again, contact Jen at dignifydementia.org. Email her at j.deserich@dignifydementia.org. 720-663-7635. 720-663-7635. Dignifydementia.org. Wonderful, wonderful program. Scan, get your wines through there. If you need to do other shopping, you need websites, you need business coaching, you need whatever, use this QR code, get it done, shop. If you're looking for a business loan, listen to the guy that I've got coming up next. He can help you obtain that business loan. And when you obtain that business loan through him, you can support organizations like Dignify Dementia. What a wonderful conversation. What a hard story that was to listen to. It really was. But I am so glad that you got to share in this with me, because, you know, we all know that getting older sucks for everyone. Getting older when it comes to head injuries and head issues is tough. It's tough, but it's not only tough on one person. It's tough on everyone. So remember that, okay? If you know a caregiver out there, give them a hug, because they need it. They do a lot. They do a lot more than a lot of people think. Looking to make a difference with your shopping? Visit communitypayitforward.us. Select the mission or cause you want to support and scan the QR code. You have two options. Click the first link and browse our giving partners, or use the second link to tell us what you need, and we'll find the right partners for you. Shop with these partners and keep your receipt or invoice. Next, click a picture or simply upload a picture of your receipt to the portal in every form, adding your name and email address. Your purchase now turns into a donation to the mission you've chosen. Community Pay It Forward shares your business story with those in need of your services to rally support for those who need us all. there's a lot of people out there who are trying to get small business loans. And one of the things that they always hear is about, you know, the inflation and the Fed and economy and all these things. And we wanted to talk to Jerrod and make sure that businesses understand and are educated when they go to try to find loans for their businesses. So Jerrod and I got together and we are going to start a segment the second hour of the first Monday or first Wednesday of every month. Believe it or not, my phone goes off right now. But so we're going to be talking about this every month and trying to help small businesses get those loans that they so desperately need. Welcome to the show, Jerrod. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Lone Star Valor funding.
No, absolutely. So thanks for having me. First and foremost, my name is Jerrod Smith. I'm an Army veteran that got out, medically retired, and I decided to go in business for myself, doing Lone Star Valor funding. And what we do is, we try to provide that tailored lending solution for small businesses because there's so many options out there. There's so much way you can structure a loan, especially in the business world. It can be a little bit more overwhelming, and so I am definitely here to help in that aspect.
Um, One of the things that before you and I got started, we did discuss that there is misconceptions on economy and uh, e- economy and what it actually means to try to get a loan. Um, and the Fed, that's another thing that really confuses people when you talk about what is the Fed talking about. The Fed just made their announcement, which means that things are staying the same, right?
Right.
But
Yep.
that doesn't have much to do with the economy alone. It has a lot to do with what?
So they all kind of work in unison in the sense, that the economy drives obviously the inflation as well as drives the interest rate. And what it all means is that essentially, the cost to conduct business is um going higher, which is what basically your inflation is. The cost of doing things is increasing. And so what the Federal Reserve tries to do is use interest rates to kind of help buffer the economy, or that based off of the inflation and based off of how the economy is reacting to the inflation. So typically what they want to see right now is that we reduce our spending, to be honest. But obviously it's hard to reduce spending when we're pretty much all living off of our paychecks just to get by. So um when the Federal Reserve looks at their interest rates, they look at it quarterly. And so the Federal Reserve releases basically where they want the what we call prime um, interest rate. And so that's basically saying that they're trying to reduce spending and they're trying to reduce saving, or people getting loans in that, by increasing the interest rates. So that's essentially what they're trying to do. And that's just to slow down the economy. But obviously it's by them holding it, they're saying that what they're currently doing with the interest rates at the moment are causing the economy to kind of flatline. And so um, once it starts going down is when they'll start reducing the rates.
Does this does this really have the reverse effect on on us as the people who need the loans and the people who need these things? Doesn't it kind of knock us out of being able to get these loans?
And so it's kind of one of those weird things because business funding is attached to, the banks and all that. Um, it does cause us as business owners to suffer more because, right, we still need to conduct business, and so, um but the idea behind it is more about the housing market than anybody, because that's what they really want to affect by raising the rates. They want to slow people from basically moving and spending money on houses, because what they hope is that if that happens, then it drives the housing market down, right? The price down. But unfortunately, we're kind of you know, the side injury from that, because um, the interest rate obviously affects all loans, but the majority of it's, um, mortgages and that kind of thing. So that's who they're ultimately aiming it for.
And as a small business owner, the last thing in the world that you want to hear is somebody saying, "Well, we want to control spending." No,
Yeah,
no, no. Let's
yeah.
let's not control spending. Let's let people go out there and spend, spend, spend. So Jerrod, let's talk about what people in small business right now can do to try to help themselves get these loans.
Yeah, man. So the biggest thing is it's kind of like kind of catch 22, but document all of your uh I want to say deposits, but all of your received income from your services, right? Um, I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing, but a lot of them may not necessarily document cash, right? And so what that does hurt you. It hurts you on the other side when you're trying to look for funding because what the banks typically are looking for, depending on the size of the loan, is they're looking at your last 4 to 6 month bank statements. And so what they want to see is they want to see deposits coming in. They want to see people, and that's kind of a lot of what dictates what route you can go for your lending, especially if you don't have the best of credit. And so it makes things way more harder. So I think that one of the problems we have in this industry is a lot of times they make these false promises to get you to come to their services. And so they promise that, oh, we can do this without, using your credit and stuff like that, which is somewhat true. But what they're failing to say is that you typically are needing a larger revenue coming into your monthly revenue coming in. And so typically it's around 15,000 a month they're wanting to see without having to worry about your credit.
So when they say that that they can get you a loan using your EIN, that means that you need to be m- creating about $15,000 worth of revenue.
No, so to do it by your EIN, and you have to. That's a little bit more, but it's a little bit different because what they want to see on that is they want to see you having like trade lines and that kind of thing, showing your worth, and you have to kind of establish your business credit, which a lot of people fail to do, because it's not one of those things that's really commonly talked about. But is it going and establishing it through the business uh, kind of credit bureaus, I guess is the best way to put it. So like you have your Dun and Bradstreet, which is your biggest one, but you have to go there and you have to apply. And that you have to have your EIN number and all of that stuff. And then once you do that, then then you're needing to take out lines of credit so that you can put that into your EIN. Um, but if you're trying to ignore, all of that stuff, the what I can get pretty close to anybody funded if they're bringing in about 15 to 25, or 15,000 to 25,000 range of monthly revenues consistently. It may not be the best rate, and I'll
Right.
be honest, and and usually I talk to the clients about that too, is just that, hey, you're going to be in this situation that you're only going to be able to afford this line of, and it may not be the best conditions. So you have to really ask yourself what's important.
We know that you've got the high interest credit cards when it comes after, say, like a bankruptcy on the personal end. Are there loans like that that you have to be looking out for? Are there predator loans like that in the business world that you really have to be careful of, that you're not stepping into something where, you're gonna, you're pre-approved for a $300 credit card, but you're gonna end up paying $700 in the end? Is that
Yeah, and it's
something that we've got to be
a-
careful of?
absolutely. Unfortunately, you're just going to have the predators and the scams, that are going to promise you, oh, I can get you this or that, um, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, I always say kind of do your due diligence. The beautiful thing about like going through our company is the services don't cost them a cent. And then typically the way I like to do it is get some options on loans and say, okay, hey, and talk with them, to see if this makes sense for their business, because all loans are not created equal, and they may not make sense for all businesses. And what I don't want to do is push a loan down somebody that realistically can't afford it, or it's going to do more damage than good, you know. And we usually have a conversation about that. And I'll be honest with them too, is it doesn't make sense, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of predatory ones out there that promise, gold and the whole nine yards.
Um, there are some very, very simple steps that people can take. And even if they're not ready for funding yet, Jerrod, what are some very, very simple things that people need to make sure that they do to prepare themselves for, when their startup business gets to that point where they're starting to see an uptick in sales, they can be ready for? Because if you go in with a Gmail account, that's not a good thing, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's some certain things that, obviously a professional email that's usually got your URL on it makes it so much more credible. Unfortunately, individuals get scammed, but so do the banks. And so that's things that they're looking out for. It costs somebody to make the email, it costs them to have their own URL, right? So the likelihood, it's lesser likelihood that they're, a scam. And so that's kind of in their mind. The other thing is just making sure that you have all of your business, um, and kind of ready to go, and put into the bank, like I said earlier, showing that you're bringing that revenue is going to be important. Um, but again, it's always that catch-22, because then that means that you're going to be paying taxes on that. And so I get it, but that's just one of those things.
The first step that they should do, of course, is reach out to Lone Star Valor Funding, because you can take and help them create a plan that they can follow these steps, and they can get very quickly from where they are to where they need to be, right?
Right. And the other thing is that business works, business funding works a little bit different than your typical funding, in the sense that you can kind of poke around and see what's available for you at the current moment, and it's not going to hurt you. I don't think I've met a single lender yet on my lender list that does a hard pull credit. They typically only do a soft pull. That means it's not going to hurt your credit. It doesn't hurt you like it would if you did the same thing on the personal side.
That's another very important thing, is that you have to have a business account. You cannot go in with, saying, well, no, this is my personal account. You can't go in and get, you're not going to get funded if you do that.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that like we can help startups as well. But you know, typically in a startup situation, you have to have, you know, a little bit better credit, you know, in your situation, right? Because they're they don't know what they're borrowing, or you know, so they want to see that they typically want to see like your last 2 years of tax returns, what your bank statements look like on your personal side, and they like to see like a business plan that. But it's possible to get a business loan as a startup.
Yeah. Let's I think one of the things that we could really do, let's talk real quickly about what did the announcement that the Fed made, how does that affect directly somebody who's going to look for a loan?
So I mean, it makes the world of difference understanding that, because, um, you know, if they have had to have been, which was kind of the talks and what I was trying to wait to see what happens, is because they were talking about raising them again, which obviously then it's like you might have wanted to look at funding last month rather than this month, because obviously the rates are going to be higher. That means you're going to spend a little bit more on the interest rates. The good thing is they left it alone. They didn't raise it. So they said that they're going to monitor it and hopefully come out in a little bit later this year, and decrease it. But that's kind of one of those gambles with them.
What's the best way to know if the Fed is leaning towards increasing or lowering? What's the best way to know this?
So that's a good question. Typically, it's kind of it follows again the economy and the inflation. So, you know, if they're talking about how things are getting worse and the economy and inflation is getting higher, right? You know, then there's probably a good chance that the rates are going to go up. But if the, you know, inflation's coming down and the economy is still thriving, then they'll bring that interest rate down. The good thing was that inflation did come down, I think, a little bit. You know, so but it wasn't enough to necessarily to decrease the rates, because the economy is still spending, and so that's again, it's this balance game of you want the economy to spend, but in their eyes, that's causing the inflation to go up. Whether that's true or not, I think it's debatable. I think we've kind of saw and heard some of the stories about some of these bigger companies. You know, the CEOs making more than they've made, and you know what I mean. And so that typically means that they're inflating it themselves and taking in the adjusted money, and so they didn't really need to inflate it, especially a lot of the grocery store stuff.
Yeah.
I think is what they were finding out pretty recently. Um,
Well,
so
let's go on ahead and let's go to you and ask you for Jared's advice. What can I do as a business owner today to prepare to come to you next week in order to try to get a loan in process? What should I do today to prepare for getting this loan?
well, so I think there's kind of there's a couple things. First, I think is looking at your credit score, kind of understanding where it is right now. And, and if that needs help, you know, obviously, I always recommend, you know, start talking to somebody to fix that, your credit, because you know, that's gonna make or break what way route we can go for funds wise. The other thing is kind of again, I know I'm going to mention it again, but making sure that you put those deposits in the bank accounts. They want to see months of consistency. Um, you know, if you have a bad month, you know, we can usually talk about why that was a bad month. Sometimes we can talk to lenders and see if we need that mess with, but the best example is that we had an individual that were making, $15,000 consistently, but for a month they only made 2,000, and so trying to talk that off was a little bit harder because it was a significant drop. So understanding what your bank account's doing monthly, I think is important.
And that's the reason why the keeping of the records is um so important. What do you do, Jerrod, in if it's a case where you are a majority cash business? How how do you make sure that you what do you need to do to make sure you are keeping records that are going to be that are going to be complete enough for them to look at and say, okay, this looks good.
Pretty much the depositing it into the bank account. They're going to want to see proof, because obviously, you could say receipts, but anybody can create a receipt, right? But and so and most banks they want to see it in the bank account. They want to see it go into the bank account. You may spend it all, but they really want to see, what's coming
Got
in.
in there.
Yeah, and that's probably the hardest thing, especially with cash businesses. And I get it. I totally understand. And so that's why it's kind of one of those catch 22s, because it also hurts you on the other end. When you are looking to sell your business, when you're looking at um, uh, looking for these lending options, you're going to suffer more the less you put into your bank, and you're going to benefit from that probably by not having to get as much taxed. So you have to kind of weigh and I'm not telling anybody to do this, so I don't want to get in trouble for saying, "Oh, he told me to hold his money," but you know, those are kind of the decisions as a business owner you got to make, right?
Let me ask you this: on a business that let's say a small restaurant that depends on having a beginning bank, um, is it smart for them to take and at the end of the business day they deposit everything and then go and withdraw the money that they need, the beginning money that they need? Is that a smart thing to do? Is that showing them that you're putting
No,
money
so
in?
so typically, whatever, if they do it smart, or and I don't want to say people aren't doing it smart, that's probably a bad way to use that term, but um a lot of the bookkeeping allows you to account for that money without having to deposit it necessarily. What they're wanting to see is what you're bringing in. So if you take whatever you're bringing in and minus the stuff that you're going to keep in house for change in that, then you can minus that, and it would be the same if they're hopefully they're consistent with the same number. So if they have to have $500 of certain X amount, right, they keep that consistent every period, and so then it would accurately still catch what they're bringing in. So
This is great information, and again, we will be doing this every first Wednesday of the month. It's going to be July 3rd, which me and my brain, I realized, wow, that's right around 4th of July. It's a damn
yeah.
day before the 4th of July. But we're going to
Mhm.
be back here live on July 3rd, and we're going to be talking about all of this. So if you have any questions, if you would like to ask anything, the first and the best thing to do is not wait. Reach out to Jerrod. And Jerrod, how do
Absolutely.
they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can reach me at admin@lonestarvalorfunding.com. That's my email. You can call or text me on my cell, 737-802-4558. If I don't answer, leave a message, or again, send me a text, and I'll get to you as soon as I get a moment. And I try to be pretty responsive. And so yeah, feel free to reach out to me, and at that question.
It's LoneStarValorFunding.com.
Yep.
So LoneStarValorFunding.com, send him an email, send him a text. But ask him any questions. You're not going to charge him to call you and ask a question, are you?
No, well, and I don't charge them to use my services at all. So they can come to me, we can discuss things, and if they want to try different lending options, we can definitely try. And I don't charge a penny for that. So
And then you also suggest different counseling options that are going to help people build up their personal credit, right?
right, I've got partnered with a couple of credit building companies, as well as I'm able to kind of help with the business credit side of it, if they would like to learn how to deal with that. But yeah, I try to have solutions for people. I guess the military has always taught me, never have a problem without a solution, and so I try to have. So if I'm missing it, I'll try to find it.
I actually really like that. If you're going to have a problem, have a solution. I really like that. So I think that we're probably going to start using that as our monthly little our monthly little sayings. So I was looking for it earlier in the day and couldn't really think of one, but I think that we've got it now. So
That works. Yep.
yep. So once again, Jerrod Smith with Lone Star Valor Funding, lonestarvalorfunding.com. It's give me your email and your phone number one more time.
Yep. It's at admin@lonestarvalorfunding.com, and my cell is 737-802-4558.
And again, if you have any questions, don't wait. Okay. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So let's get started now. If you're needing business funding, get started now. And ask the question. We will replay the question next month if it's asked, but don't wait for next month to get started on something that can help you by this time next month. Let's get started now. Contact Jerrod today. Thank you, Jerrod. I think this is a great first start. I can't wait till we get together next month. If you would like to come on board and ask any questions, just simply scan the QR code up top and you can be a guest. You can come on, you can ask a question, and we can try to help you in your business. Thank you, Jerrod. I appreciate it. And again, Jerrod is also a community pay it forward giving partner. So anytime you hire him to help get you and your company the funding that you need, you get to choose somebody to help along the way. Thank you, sir. We'll see you on the 3rd, which is right next to the 4th.
Yep.
I want to make sure that everybody, once again, gets this wonderful QR code. It is from our dear friend, Melissa Lozada, who unfortunately was unable to join us today due to technical difficulties. This is the second week in a row that we've had technical difficulties. Unfortunately, the internet, just like the weather, is kind of going a little bit goofy, I guess. So hopefully we can get that figured out. But scan this code right now, and you can take this code and order wine for Father's Day, or for your family picnic, or for a brunch, or, hey, mimosas, right? So there's always those, plenty of reason to have wine in your house, and you should get it from One Hope Wine, because if you do, you get to support great causes like Dignify Dementia. I want to thank Jenifer for joining us, Jenifer Desrich, because that story that she was telling, look, it's still fresh. Her father passed in February of this year. And it's not something that goes away quickly. This is another one of those organizations that would just a little bit of help folks. We can make a huge difference for them. Okay. And all we're doing at Community Pay It Forward is asking you to scan this QR code right here. Scan it. It takes you to a spot where you can view all of our Community Pay It Forward partners, our giving partners. You shop with any of those giving partners and give us the receipt. We're not asking you for cash of any kind. We don't ask you for cash of any kind. Unless, of course, you want to donate to us, and then by all means, we ask for cash. But we're not asking you for the cash. What we're asking you for is from the receipts from our partners. We have agreed to a referral. They give us a referral. When you shop with them, that referral in turn turns into a donation for these wonderful, wonderful missions like Dignify Dementia. Last week, we had a really, really dear friend go through some very difficult times. His son, Bladen, turned 17 last week. Unfortunately, we lost Bladen when he was 3. I'm, of course, talking about our buddy John Wayne Vogels of Martyred Angels. It's another organization like what we just heard where something terrible happens, but people do what they can to support other people who are in these like situations. We want to make sure that we are there to help them get through these situations. Look, nobody wants to be in a situation like that. I couldn't think of anything worse than losing one of our kids. John and Teresa, Raven, they've done a great job doing what they've done with Martyred Angels, and I want to just come right out and say it. I send my love to you guys, and happy birthday, Bladen. Got an email today, right before we went live, and the president and the vice president and kitchen manager for the Greeley Kitchen here in Greeley, Colorado, is looking for help. The same flood that got us right here in Community Pay It Forward, which made me tear apart 3 rooms of carpeting, also got them at Crossroads Church. And the dining room has sustained a lot of damage, and they need 4 strong young people to volunteer and please to help out removing damaged carpet, moving tables, and cleaning up. They need this help because they serve food to people who are homeless. So please, their goal is to serve 2 times a week. They can't do it with their dining room underwater. So if you can help them, please reach out to us here. You can go to my card that you see right down there, or go to communitypayitforward.us, and you'll see my card. Just scan it and you'll get a hold of us. Or you can just flat out send me a text. A text is the best way to get a hold of me. I do not, unfortunately, I always have my phone on silent. I don't know why, but I do. So the best way to get a hold of me is send me a text, 970-909-0751, 970-909-0751. I always have my phone on silent unless, of course, I'm starting a show and then all of a sudden my phone's working. So, send us a text. We'll connect you to Diana. We need 4 people to help her out. Okay, so please, if you are in the Northern Colorado area, you're looking for something to do, give her a call, help her out. There's going to be many, many people who benefit, but none will benefit more than you, because you know that you're going to be making a huge difference for someone. You can find all of our mission partners like Dignify Dementia at communitypayitforward.us/mission partners. You can find all of our giving partners at communitypayitforward.us/verified giving partners. You can get a hold of me using my For My Card, formycard.net/u/36RU, or just scan it off communitypayitforward.us. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this week. I want to thank Jenifer for joining us and telling us her story. I want to give my deepest apologies to Melissa for all the technical difficulties. I'm trying to find a way that we can make sure that this doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, I have very little control over the internet. You all saw that last week when I couldn't get on the show. Folks, it's that time again for me to say, please love somebody out there, because somebody out here loves you. Make sure that you're helping someone, because if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Join us again on next Wednesday when we have our buddy Les Simpson come back. He's going to be talking to you about the new ways of banking, 3waystobanking.com. 3waystobank.com is his website. Go on there, check it out, see what they've got going on. Make your banking count for more than just a bank. He'll explain all that later next week, and he's going to teach you how you can turn your banking into a way that you can fundraise. Always goes back to that fundraiser. My name is Zach Clayton. I am the president and founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the IMpACT channels. I want to thank you so very much for joining us right here on Community IMpACT. If you have any questions, please visit communitypayitforward.us, communitypayitforward.us. There's a contact us button. Reach out to us. I will get back to you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. If you're in Northern Colorado and you can help out, they desperately need your help to help serve people who need these meals. Just reach out to us and we will connect you. Thank you. We'll see you again next week with our buddy Les Simpson. Looking to make a difference with your shopping? Visit communitypayitforward.us. Select the mission or cause you want to support and scan the QR code. You have 2 options. Click the first link and browse our giving partners, or use the second link to tell us what you need, and we'll find the right partners for you. Shop with these partners and keep your receipt or invoice. Next, click a picture or simply upload a picture of your receipt to the portal in every form, adding your name and email address. Your purchase now turns into a donation to the mission you've chosen. Community Pay It Forward shares your business story with those in need of your services to rally support for those who need us all.
Show me the way. You wanna hold the heart of Sunset Boulevard. Bring me here, 'cause it's not quite clear to be a part of Sunset Boulevard.